दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲಲ್ಲಿ
Hyderabad Express University Station, Netaji Bhavan.
Former Delhi captain Rishabh Pant moves to Lucknow. Former Lucknow captain Rahul moves to Delhi. Lots of seats have changed around. I'm just really happy that I've retained this seat for the IPL season this year. Hello and welcome to Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher, and with me today in the studio, I've got two gentlemen who are aging backwards. They're getting fitter every time they come back to India. I have no idea what they do. I know it's a lot of red light therapy and a lot of other therapy that Michael does, and a lot of paddle. And of course, the man with the best taste in shoes, Simon Doull. Welcome to the show, both you young gentlemen.
That's a welcome, isn't it? Thank you very much.
I told you that in the elevator.
We didn't get this from Manish yesterday.
No, it was just like, g'day guys, how you going?
Yeah.
Very nice. Nice to be here with you, Sami, and nice to see you back.
We had Michael on the big screen. He looked like a movie star on this big screen with these lights, but you were
As long
not
as you didn't
with
ask
us.
him to walk at the time. I think he just had his knee done.
He just
as
had
long
his
as you didn't
knee
ask him to
done.
do any shuttles or anything like that, he was fine.
But do you know that I have to gift Michael a photo frame at the end of this IPL? You remember that, Michael, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Because there was a photograph of the great Sachin Tendulkar in his house, which was something that I don't want to talk about. It was when he got out and Michael got him out. But I will be gifting him another photo frame of the great Sachin Tendulkar.
What, hitting me for six?
Yes.
You're not
On a regular basis.
You are not the Lone Ranger there.
Well, the first weekend of the IPL is written in the books already. There's been so much drama, so many runs, just so much excitement in these 2 days. Your standout moment for the weekend?
Oh, there's been a few, but I have to admit, I've always got a soft spot for a story. And when you see a young chap making his debut last night from Mumbai, bowling left arm leg spin, Vignesh Puthur was magnificent. Just release of the hand, his action, the support he got from Skies, the skipper, the rapport at the end of the game. I saw MS Dhoni speaking to him, just a nice little tap on the back. And his story, you know, his father's a tuk-tuk driver. I just love to see stories like that, and that's what the IPL brings. They bring new players, fresh faces. And Mumbai threw a young chap in there, bowled nicely in the net, apparently bowled nicely at Sky, at Rowett. And they said, go on, give him a game. Mahela went, go on, we'll give you a game. We'll try and surprise Chennai. And he bowled beautifully. So he's my story of the weekend.
Story of the weekend for you and for you, Simon.
I love a good story as well, and not a redemption story, but a point-to-prove story, which we talked about last night. So Ishan Kishan for me. Big money. He was retained a couple of years ago on big money at Mumbai. Obviously didn't get bought back by Mumbai. I think SRH picked him up. I won't say it's a bargain because they paid a fair amount for him, but another glimpse of the talent, I think, was when you go to a new team, you feel comfortable in a new environment. I saw a nice message on Instagram, I think it was last night, where he'd talked to Abhishek and said, do you expect me to come in after you and Travis? What do they call him now? Travishek. I think we've got a new, it's like they combine all these all of these names, but Travishek, if you expect me to come in after you guys and do what you're doing. And apparently Abhishek just said, yes, we do. And, so that was a nice moment for Ishan Kishan, I think. His first century in the tournament, and it was great to see, and just sort of seeing that talent that we know he's got, and finally putting it back on the park for a new team. So that's my story of the weekend.
Yeah, that's nice too. I like that. He played beautifully. But I think the most important question, Sam, is it worth us asking you what your favourite over the weekend?
You spoke about stories in IPL, didn't you? And you speak about redemption stories, which Ishan Kishan was. You spoke about the story of this young boy who comes, surprises everyone. For me, the story is also a redemption story, because it's Ajinkya Rahane getting off to a fiery start. And we know the story. He was unsold in the auction. He comes back. He gets bought for 1.5, and then he becomes captain for KKR. So for me, Michael, I know that smile on your face. I'm just someone who likes to support my friends, and he did very well. So
nice fit.
It was nice, and he played beautifully.
Yeah.
He played beautifully. Still shows that he's got it as well. So it's nice. I like it.
Well, just 3 games in and we've had a lot of stories already coming through this IPL. But moving on to what's happening today, it's Monday, but when there's IPL on, every day is a fun day, even Monday. And Delhi are taking on Lucknow today. Delhi have won the toss. They've decided to bowl first. So the new captain, Axar Patel, starting off on a good note, winning the toss. But just talking about Axar, the captain, he's someone, Simon, you've probably seen him at close quarters at the ground. He's always smiling, he's joking around, seems very relaxed and chilled and not one of those really aggressive captains. You think he's the right personality, right choice as captain?
I think he's a great personality for a skipper. It'll be interesting to see how he transfers, how he is as a player to the captaincy role, because it's vastly different. And you know, Michael's been there, done that. It plays with your head at times. His job, first and foremost, is to be the bowler and the batter that he has been over the years, and he's one of the classiest all-rounders. I talked about him last night. He's a player I really like, and he's one of those guys you would have in any team in world cricket at the moment, because he just gives you 100% every time he plays, whether it's bat and whatever he's asked to do. Champions Trophy, asked to bat number 5. Hold, you know, peg the innings back, control the middle of the innings, and he did it wonderfully well. He bowls great overs, he bowls tough overs at times. I think he's got a very level head. I think, and I hope he'll do a great job as a skipper, because he's that type of personality, I think, that doesn't get too over the top with emotion and doesn't get too low. And I think in a captaincy role, that's quite important, not to you know, run with the hares and hunt with the hounds, or whatever you like to sort of put it. If he just stays quite level, I think he'll do a great job.
You know, you said like he's got a very level head with Axar Patel. He's somebody who has also spoken about how he wants to keep things simple. He wants to not complicate things. And he said that's going to be their mantra. And he said the biggest learning for them from the last season was that they don't want to be chasing a game. They want to be ahead of a game all the time, because that's something Delhi struggled with last time. They were never ahead of the game. So do you think as a captain, when Axar comes in, what is that thing as a captain that he's going to keep closest to his heart? Because, you know, in press conferences, you say all these things, but when you get onto that field, what is that one thing you want to keep close to your heart?
Well, first and foremost, you can't look back. You know, what was, you know, happening last year and the previous few years with Delhi, they've not had a great run of it. That's all gone. That's all in the history. Fundamentally, he's a brilliant player. You know, and you look at those numbers on the screen, you look at 2022, win percentage of 50, went down to 35 in 23 and back to 50 in 2024, so finishing 5th, finishing 9th, finishing 6th. So he's actually taken the captaincy at the best possible time. You know, I look at Yuvraj Gaikwad, who's replacing MS Dhoni. They're so used to winning. The pressure's mounting on him because, you know, everyone expects Chennai to be competing. This is the perfect time to get the captaincy. And the one thing I'll say is, you know, when you do everything, you're the perfect captain, because you can get into the mind of the batter, you're about yourself. You can get into the mind of the bowler, you're a bowler himself. But I think sometimes I look at all-rounders when they captain, they sometimes don't bowl themselves at the right time. And I would advise him to pick 2 or 3 players within the group. And probably KL Rahul is not playing tonight because he's a senior pro. And you'd whisper to KL before games, look, I want you to captain as well. So please, you give me your information. And then you take that information on board and you say to him, be as honest as you possibly can.
But is that something Kevin Peterson will also chip in and see?
I wouldn't be asking Kevin about captaincy. That's me honest
We got that out of the way early.
Let's just move that out to one side. About batting, absolutely, ask Kev, but not about captaincy. But you just need a few players in the side that you can walk past in between overs, and those players will give you the honest truth. Actually, you're on next. You should be bowling. Because he might be delaying himself, because he might be giving others a chance, or he might not be seeing it through the eyes of what he did as a player. And as a player, you get told when you're bowling. As a captain, you decide when you're going to bowl yourself. So he just needs 2 or 3 players within the side that he can ultimately trust to go past and say, when should I be on?
I'd like to think he'd be one of those guys that won't shy away from a tough over as well. He's that sort of cricketer. He wants the fight.
Yes.
He wants the contest. So
sometimes, as a captain, you can take it on too much as well.
Yeah, that's the other
you know,
one.
he might go, I'll prove I'm the leader by,
prove.
I'll bowl the second over, I'll bowl the 5, I'm the captain.
You don't want that side of it either.
No, you just got to... I think getting his bowling right is going to be the key to his captaincy. His batting's fantastic. I think he's a revelation with India, and the way that he reads the game, and he can bat in all different positions, he can strike the ball, he can play sensibly at the right times. But when he bowls his 4 overs, he's going to be crucial for his team, so he might just need a little bit of advice from a few of his teammates.
Well, he's gotten it out of the way that Kevin Peterson's not giving the captaincy advice.
I like that. That's great.
It's just out and clear there. But, you know, when we talk about captaincy and personalities, they're very strong personalities kind of attached to IPL captains we've seen over the years. But you see a MS Dhoni, you see a Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. There's this dynamic personality that you see with the captain. But now that they've turned 18, the IPL's turned 18, we've seen a slight change. You know, we're seeing there are no superstar captains anymore. We're seeing, you know, Ruturaj Gaikwad, now Ajinkya captaining for KKR. We're seeing Axar Patel captain here. Do you see a change and shift in the mentality?
We're looking at future-proofing in some cases with Ruturaj. I think with Rishabh, with Axar, who we know has probably got another 3, 4, 5 years left in him. In Ajinkya, it's just about having a senior statesman in a side that really doesn't look like it had anyone else to captain the side. So they were looking for someone who has an enormous amount of experience. So you look at your squad and you think, what do we need? Where have we been in the past? And in Delhi's case, they haven't been anywhere. We saw that graphic, you know, 5th, 9th, 6th. So they were looking for a change and a way forward, and I think a captain for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So you always got to look at where your team's at. You know, Vaughan talked about the success at Chennai, and Ruturaj now is the new successor. He's a guy that could captain that franchise for 6, 7, 8 years if they are successful. So you're always looking at the balance of your squad, where your team is at, who's been there previously, and what do you need for the next 1 year, 2 years in Ajinkya's case, or 6, 7, 8 years in Ruturaj or Akshar's case.
I think the world of captaincy is slightly changing. You know, you go back to when we used to play the game, there wasn't as many in the back room, there wasn't as much information from the computer screen. And really your job as a leader was to lead the group and try and galvanise some kind of spirit and culture within the dressing room. I think now it's more of a tactical game, and there's so much information that comes from the coaching department and so many coaches that I just think that, you know, you choose the player that's almost like that personality that can keep the calmness. You know, those players that can be calm under pressure are the ones that I would look at to be leaders in this group because, well, in this kind of era, because all the matchups, all the kind of information, they basically go out with a piece of paper with so much information on it. So it's about using that information. But I still feel that the best captains, and MS was the best of them all. He would have had all the information, but before he was good at reacting, and he was good at assessing the pitch, and he was good at thinking outside of the box. And I still think you need all that, but before you need that little bit of a Midas touch of creating a little bit of doubt in the opposition by surprising them. And that's, you know, hopefully what Axar will bring to Delhi, exactly what Rishabh will bring to Lucknow. I'm more excited about watching Rishabh when he's captain, because he's actually that person that I think, he doesn't look like he's a captain at all.
Yes.
He just doesn't look like that kind of character. But I think if there's one format that suits Rishabh's style of kind of personality to be a captain, this is the format.
Well, I will want to talk about that in detail because I'm just as curious. But we'll have a look at the teams first. Delhi won the toss. They will be bowling first. So let's have a look at Lucknow's playing 11. They will be batting first. We will get to Rishabh Pant and talking about him. But interesting there, the 4 planes there are all the batters. There is no overseas bowler there. And any other surprises you see there, Simon?
Well, I think from a bowling lineup point of view, that was always going to be their task. They've got so many injuries, and we'll come to those injuries soon, I'm sure. But, I mean, when you look at what they've got from a bowling point of view, that's going to be the tough side of things for them. How do they get through the first 4 or 5 games with that bowling lineup, with Shardul Thakur leading it, being brought in as a replacement straight away? Batting, I mean, as powerful as it sort of gets, really. Markram, Marsh, Puran, Aish Badoni, Rishabh Pant and David Miller. I would rather see Rishabh Pant right at the top. If that's the list that was on paper when it's delivered to the opposition captain at the toss, then we just have to run with it, because that's normally what happens. They give you the bit of paper with the batting order in it. I'd like to see Pant at the top, but if he's going to come in at number 5, you know, that may be his choice. I read something where he actually, in interviews, has said, I would prefer to open the batting in T20 cricket.
He said this a lot of times.
Just on that, when you give your paper to the opposing captain and the match referee, I would put a completely different order.
You just muddle them up.
I'd have you at number 1. Monty Panasar number 2. And, you know, I'd just mix it all up.
Yeah.
Why give them any indication before the game of who's going to be batting in what order?
It's not a bad point, actually. Maybe they have just thrown.
Yeah, maybe they have, but they probably don't. They probably do kind of put them in some kind of batting lineup. I would I'd be like jigging him around.
But maybe that's what Pant is doing, and maybe he is going to open.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope he is.
I mean, no matter what, you put the captain at the top, and then if you want to put the number 11 or the number 10 next and things, who knows? It's fine.
Well, this has been Pant's opener there, Simon. So he has got that strike rate going. Like you said, he said it in interviews, he said it to Harsha that he would like to open. But then he also made a very mature comment saying, I don't want to take any rash decisions because I will speak to Langer, I'll speak to Zach about it. But would you all like to see him open?
Well, I just look at those numbers. He's had 21 innings opening, and he's had 6 where he's past 50, he's got 100. So 6 out of 21, I mean, again, off the top of my head, I don't know what the data says, but 6 out of 21 opening the batting and you've passed 50 and you're striking at 162, I'm guessing that's up there with the best.
Oh, well, when we talk about Basra nowadays, right, your batting average strike rate, that's over 190.
Yeah.
You're over 190, you're in the top echelon of players now if your Basra is over 190. Above 200, there's still, there's a few in the world that have that, but opening the batting, averaging in excess of 30, striking over 160, that's phenomenal. So I think he's got the skills to hit the bowlers anywhere, but I just prefer him starting with a bit of pace on and finding the gaps and starting off just timing the ball. And if he gets through the power play, he becomes even more dangerous. And I just like that combination at the top. That last night we talked about their team. I had him and Mitch Marsh at the top of the order. All right. Which is just, that's as explosive as Travishek. If you're thinking about opening combinations, that's as explosive. Well, Marsh is just an absolute beast.
When you're looking at batting lines for T20 cricket, I think you should assess your group and go, right, realistically, how many of our group can get 100? Realistically. And you can go, 3 or 4 of them. There's your top 3 or 4. Yeah. Straight away, anyone that can get 100 in T20 cricket, you look at Ishan Kishan coming at number 3, gets 100. Fantastic. There are players that can only get you a 30 off 12 balls. That's brilliant. Yes. So you put them down the back end. But any player that can get you 3 figures in a T20 game and naturally get it, just playing normally, well, you've got to have him in the top 4.
But, well, you were talking about Pant, Axar, the captain, and whether he'll come in and bowl at the correct time or not. But Pant, the batter, should get himself up at the top because the numbers are doing the talking as well. But Pant, the captain, I want to discuss that a little bit. Michael, you touched upon it a little bit. He's someone who's a complete character. We have seen it. He's someone who loves chatting. But these are the numbers of Pant, the captain. The team owner, Sanjeev Goenka, actually had high praise for him, and he said that he is probably going to be a future India captain. He's got qualities of Rohit Sharma and MSD. What do you make of Pant, the captain? Well,
55% is decent in terms of his win ratio. As I say, I think T20 cricket is perfectly suited to his style of kind of mindset. I like players that smile when they're on the field. I just like watching cricketers that look like they're enjoying the game. He's got a very carefree attitude. He's got so much talent. I guess with that talent, sometimes leaders like that, they can think that all players within the side can play like them. And I think when you're so naturally gifted, he probably doesn't have to train as hard as someone else because it's just so natural to him. And I always say when you're building a team, you have to train as hard as your worst piece, really. Your smallest jigsaw piece, you've got to train as hard as that piece. And that's the only fear that I have with Mavericks that are captains, that they can't quite... I had to work so hard. Doull probably the same. It's like, do they realise what we have to do? How tough it is for us. And even taking a high ball under pressure for some is difficult. And I guess that'll be a challenge. But in terms of the way that he plays the game and the joy that he brings to everyone when he plays the game, if he can bring that to the captaincy... I agree. I think he could be a T20 captain for India. Could he be a 50 over in a test? I wouldn't want to see him as a test captain. I think the game would be over in 2 days. I think it just I'm an advert for 4-day test match cricket, but I think Rishabh would be trying to promote 2-day test match cricket far too soon. So T20 cricket, absolutely.
You said you like smiling captains. Do you think that Langer is going to bring a broader smile to Pant?
We said yesterday, we were talking yesterday, it's like the different ends of the spectrum. You've got Justin Langer, who worked so hard and maximised every ounce of his ability brilliantly, and then you've got Rishabh, this carefree character. If they can clash in the middle somewhere, that's the perfect scenario.
But his biggest test, Simon's going to be handling, that whole bowling department which is sitting and getting some things fixed in their body because everyone's injured. So this is that big long list with Shardul Thakur being the most experienced bowler now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Avish Khan, Mayank Yadav, who we're still waiting to hear whether he'll actually take part at all. You know, and there's a high chance that he'll be ruled out completely, so they'll need to bring someone in. And Akashdeep. Now, if you look at those three names in particular, they would probably all have been, if not starters, they'd have been the 12th or the next cab off the rank. So it's a huge hole in your bowling depths, I suppose. Shamar Joseph available, but they're going with the 4 overseas batters. So they're looking to strengthen their batting and saying, Shardul Thakur, you are going to have to really look after our bowling attack. He's in for Mohsin Khan and goes straight into the side. Surprised they didn't play Hungageka. I thought he might get an opportunity, but you know, there's opportunities for others, and all of those bowlers that are coming and getting that chance tonight have a chance to say, I'm needed for the season. You know, if a couple of good performances, first couple of games, when the likes of Avish and the others are fit and ready to go, they want to make it as hard as possible for them to get back into the team.
But how is Pant going to handle this as a captain? Because he'd actually want Zach to come out and bowl if he's given a choice, you know.
You know, you look at most franchise leagues or T20 World Cups are genuinely won by the best bowling teams. You need quality bowlers, and that's what it'll be. It'll be very difficult for Rishabh with a bowling attack that's depleted. But you know, you look at that batting lineup. That top 6 as strong as any in this this year's IPL, and you always look at it and think, okay, if par's 160, they're probably going to have to get 180. They're probably always going to have to get a little bit beyond par, and if they can do that, and that batting lineup certainly can, they can be very competitive. He'll have to think out the box. He'll have to be creative at times because you know, on paper that bowling attack doesn't look anywhere near the best bowling attacks in the tournament.
Well, we'll have a look at Delhi's playing 11. They will be bowling first. So this is who they've gone ahead with. No surprises there for you all, you think, because Starc is the overseas bowler, and then there's Tristan Stubbs, Jake Fraser-McGurk, and Faf opening. There is no KL because he is out for today's game, though.
I mean, KL will slot straight back in, probably move everyone down a little bit, and Samir Rizvi probably the one that misses out. Vipraj Nigam, a little bit of wrist spin for them in that line up there. And then you've got Kuldeep, so you've got a right arm leg spinner, you've got the left arm wrist spinner, and Mukesh and Mohit Sharma. So you've got experience in Mohit and an out and out pace of Mitchell Starc. So it's, you know, it's a good lineup. If they get a surface that suits through the middle, you know, they've got opportunities to take wickets with those 2 wrist spinners.
I was surprised
and Axar as well.
Yeah, no Natarajan.
No Natarajan there. Is that a surprise?
Well, I think they're probably looking at Starc as their left armour. Mukesh, I mean, Natarajan's a good death bowler as well. His numbers are very good at the death as well. So, but Mohit Sharma's bowled really well at the back end. He's got those backhand slower balls. So they've got 3 high-quality spin bowling. Well, 3 spin bowling options, you know, and 2 very high-quality ones in Axar and Kuldeep. And we'll just see how the new leggy goes. But I think
looking forward to seeing Kuldeep.
A lot of bases covered.
Well, we saw 2 leg spinners last night, left arm, Noor Ahmed, and
he was my purple cap.
Kuldeep.
Is that right? Well, he's off to a fly with 4, and then we've got 3 for the new chap, Vignesh, which is great. And Kuldeep Yadav, you'd say, is the pick of all 3 of them in terms of quality. So looking forward. I always look at Delhi and think, for Delhi to go, you know, close to getting to the qualifications, and could they win it? I don't think they can, but you never know. Kuldeep's going to have a stormer.
But, you know, if you look at the Delhi's bowling unit, do you think it's one of the most solid bowling units that Delhi's probably put together in all these 18 years of the IPL? If you have to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, Michael, where do you rate them? Oh,
yeah, I think they've got the bowling attack. I wouldn't say it's up there with the best, but it's in that mid-pack. I think they've got a chance. You always look at Delhi's batting, actually. You know, they generally always go with a lot of overseas players. They have over the last few years, particularly when Ricky was in charge. You went, you know, overseas heavy with the batting. I always think you need Indian quality batters, you know, that can really play on these wickets. Maybe at the start when the pitches are fresh, the overseas players can just hit through the line and you can get away with it a little bit. When the pitches start to wear a little bit down the 2nd, 3rd, 4th weeks, I always think the Indian wrists and the players that are so used to playing on these pitches come into their own. So I'll be interested to see how that batting lineup kind of goes throughout the whole of the IPL. But the bowling looks pretty good.
You know, when you talk about the bowling for Delhi, there's that one name that always stands out, and that's Starc. We know what he does with the new ball. We know how lethal he can be. The last assignment, of course, he didn't start off very well, but when it came to the big games, the playoffs, he came and did what a big player does. What is it about Starc that people like to go and pay the big bucks for him?
Well, wicket-taking ability. I think 17 wickets, 14 matches last year. Economy rate, now that was mostly down to the first 4 games. He went for 50-odd, I think, in game 1. He went for late 40s a couple of times in games 2 and 3. So the back end of the tournament, if you took his numbers for the last 4 or 5 games, particularly the playoffs and the final, he's world class. And another guy, that Mitchell Starc, that obviously he's been in and out of this tournament or pulled out at different times. He I don't say he struggles, but he finds it difficult to be away from home for long periods of time. He needs the comforts. He needs the comforts of home. And if he feels really comfortable in an environment, you will get the best out of him. And he absolutely box office. I mean, very few in the world do what he does. Bowl rockets, swinging the ball away from the left-handers into the right-handers at the start of the innings. And then if you get a little bit of that reverse, if the surfaces do dry out, and we always thought that last year, we talked about it quite a lot, the back end of the tournament, as the blocks get a bit barer and the reverse swing starts to come into play a little bit more, he becomes even more dangerous. So, you're going to pay... I always think that Indian batters and overseas express bowlers command the biggest money in this tournament.
You don't buy Mitchell Starc for the economy.
No.
You buy him for the wickets. Yeah, and he's got it in him to go bang, bang straight away in the first over. You know, if he gets the ball hooping... I mean, Starc to Mitchell Marsh is a humdinger straight away. 2 Aussies going at each other. You mentioned home comforts, and I know this might sound mad, but he's playing in Delhi, and Delhi have got 2 magnificent golf courses. He loves his golf, and the overseas players that come to play for India, it can get all-consuming. If you're in it for 9 weeks, and you know the players they get pestered everywhere, and people wanting selfies. So I can understand why it gets a little bit draining. If there is a golf resort that you can go and play and it's on your doorstep, just little things like that can help a player. And I know Mitchell's mad on his golf. He plays as much as he possibly can. And that might just help him just to settle in, as I think it does with a lot of the overseas players. And I don't know what the 2 courses are called. Doull, you'll know more than me, but I know they've got 2 very good courses in Delhi, which might help him out.
Kartik will love the fact that I mentioned the DLF, because that's his home course. It's beautiful out there. My goodness. But yeah, I agree. And little things that you do that you bring up. Adam Zampa takes a coffee machine everywhere he goes.
Gets it from home.
So you're going to say he's got a mini goat.
Yeah, mini goat.
He has. He's got a mini goat, and I think it's called a pigmy.
Oh.
I think that's what they call it. Yeah, that's what they call it. He's got a mini goat, yeah.
But
he doesn't take that with him, though, does he?
I don't think it goes in his bag.
No, I don't think it goes on holiday. Well,
makes too much noise on the plane.
Well, I don't know what Mitch Starc's getting to India, but I know he's coming off fresh. He's not played the Champions Trophy, so he's had his time off.
Yep.
So he's going to be fresh. He's spent his time at home. So when he comes in now, well, he said that there were personal reasons, but also the ankle injury that he had. So he's coming in fresh into the IPL.
Yeah, and hopefully he's had a nice long break. And sometimes, in the modern era, you don't get a chance for breaks. And look, Australia would have been disappointed that he and Hazlewood both chose not to go to Pakistan, and Cummins as well. I mean, personal reasons, that's fine. It's up to them. No issue with that. If you've got those reasons, that's fine with me. They're your own to deal with. But coming in fresh, nice break. You don't get many opportunities as an international quality player like those 3 are, in particular, to take a break, to take a month and a half out of the game. So freshen up. Sometimes best when fresh. And, I'm sure that they'll be hoping that that's exactly the case for him. He would have come back into the environment and thought, yeah, I'm actually ready to go. My body feels good, and hopefully that's the case.
Well, you said best when fresh. You all are both very fresh into Cricbuzz in the red chairs. So you all have to be at your best, because we're going to have a look at the joy factor question of the day. And this is what Joyda has to ask us. Which cricketer playing in this year's Indian T20 League was the player of the match for taking 4 wickets on his T20I debut in 2022? Do you all want to bother guessing, or do you all want to keep the guessing for the guessing game and not waste your guesses on the joy factor question?
Yes.
Guessing for the guessing game? 2022.
We will get to the joy factor question when we are having our... I think you've got something there.
I'm going to go with...
Okay. You've got some idea there. Let the answers come in
Yeah.
from all the viewers here. I know you all come in with your answers very quickly, but Simon has got the answer. I can see some nodding happening there. But do you have the answers for our guessing game? I will give you all a clue. Mitch Marsh and Markram are out to open.
Oh, I just thought you were going to say they're out.
Oh, they're out, all right.
First over, what's going on?
that I'll say.
Are out two open, so they're in the middle. Okay,
Right, so
good.
we've got two right-handers.
Two righties. Okay, go on. Where you go?
Michael, go ahead.
I'm going to go 224.
Woo. Flat one.
Well, KKR hit 270 here last year.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm gonna go 224.
All right, a little bit lower than that for me, but I'll be in the 200s at 209.
Oh, so I have some space in between. 224, 209. I'm going to go with 217.
270.
You got in the middle. Be brave. Go high or
I mean,
low.
I was going to be in the 200s, and I know they've got all the firepower in the top six, but
Yeah.
we know there's Mid Starc as well. So let's see what Mid Starc does when he comes out to open the bowling. Thank you so much to both my fit friends here. I'm not going to keep you all very fit now because we'll be ordering some food
yeah,
for you all.
yes, food.
So you all
Khana
can.
time.
Yes, it's Khana time. We'll be ordering some Khana, but we will be back at the 10:00 point for the Cricbuzz Combox. Thank you so much for watching. Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you all very soon.
कृपया लक्ष्य दें। जयपुर दिल्ली होटल कृपया खाना हो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत।
जंक्शन